Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurhuda binti Muhammad Zul. Imagine you are going to the school trip with your friends. You are going to an island by ferry with them, and then the ferry started to sink. And the ferry crew told you to stay still at your seat because the rescue team is on their way. But sooner, there is still no one helping until the ferry is totally sank. This actually happened on April 16, 2014. The ferry named Sewol sank off Jindo Island in Korea, killing 304 people. Almost all of them is children. The bodies of the 9 people were never found until today. The ship was raised after almost 3 years on the seafloor and put into a platform to be towed to port. Most of those aboard were teenagers, and they are in the same high school, which is in South Korea. The 9 victims who have yet to be recovered are 4 from school children, 2 teachers, and a married couple with their child. This disaster was blamed on a combination of illegal redesign, cargo overloading, the inexperience of the crew member steering the vessel, and the lax government regulation. The captain of South Korea ferry that capsized in April has escaped the death penalty and has instead been sentenced to 36 years in jail for his role in this tragedy. It is because survivors of South Korea Sewol ferry have begun testifying against the captain and crew. One of the survivors said the crew members had repeatedly told passengers, especially the high school students, to stay in their cabins until the rescue team arrived. Despite the ferry listing heavily with passengers thrown to one side, the crew told passengers to put on their life vests and stay still. One student said that she and her classmate obeyed the order until the ferry had lifted so far that the door to their cabin was above their head. Her classmate clambered up fixed furniture and pulled others up as the water rose inside the cabin. One witness said that at that time there's no crew that helped them to escape. The bulk of the charge against the crew arise from the fact that they chose to abandon ship while hundreds of people were still trapped inside. The member of crew abandoned ship while hundreds of people were still trapped inside. The member of the crew who stayed to help them are mostly who died during this incident. The crew's members on trial, including the captain, have said they thought it was the Coast Guard job to evacuate passengers. Suddenly, students say even the Coast Guard officer failed to come to try and rescue them, but simply waited outside the ferry to fish passenger out of the water. One student described watching a wave sweep her classmate's back inside the sinking boat. She said that she and a group of students managed to move along a horizontal stairwell toward an escape hatch, but as she jumped out, water swept away their route. There were many classmates in the corridor, and most of them were swept back in the ship. Frustration has grown among families and the victims as police refuse to let a group of 30 civilian divers take part in the search for any survivor who may still be trapped in the sunk ferry during this incident. Until today, many relatives and victims' family held a memorial service at the sea near the wrecked ship. It's been 7 years since this tragedy, but Sewol tragedy will always be in everyone's minds, especially among Korean citizens.